My continuing review of some of the French knives in my collection. These are an assortment of sort of random Laguiole styled knives. This first one is made by Herbert's. The blade is marked C. Jules Herbert's, so I think it's a German manufacturer. It's a liner lock, one-hand opening knife with aluminum scales. It's got a brass pivot screw, and you've got the obligatory little B on the spine there, even though there isn't a spring on the knife, since it's a one-handed opening knife. The knife has a good heft to it. It's nicely made, nicely finished. Nice little Allen head screw holding the thumb stud on. The knife is fairly stiff, but it is, it does work as a one-hand opener. Probably loosen up with use, and then the liner lock fits quite nice and closes nicely. It's a nice, quiet knife with the stylings of a Laguiole. This next one is another Laguiole style, but this is a fishing knife. So this is made by David in France. It's got the arbalete, or the crossbow marking on the blade. Similar to that other one, it's got an aluminum handle. It's got a nice stiff spring. It's Margie David with the 12C27 Sandvik steel marking on the blade. This is more of a factory done knife with the stamped file work on the spring and the liners. It still looks quite nice. The B is not forged; it's arc welded on. One note about that, the mouche here isn't really doing anything for you, and it doesn't really take any strain. So whether it's arc welded or hand filed, that's just sort of a personal preference and sort of a mark of extra hand work that's gone on in finishing the knife. A nice arc welded B, looks fine. It's just if you're snooty connoisseur, or you just prefer paying for the extra workmanship to have the mouche hand decorated. I certainly understand that, and I have many with that on it. But you don't need to discount the quality of the knife just because of that on there, as long as the blade steel and the fitting are done well. It has a nice steel pivot screw and nice aluminum scales. It's got a nice heft to it. Nicely polished blade. Being a fishing knife, this is unique in that it's got a fish hook removing tool as the other blade. It's got a nice extra liner, so there's a liner between the blades to protect them. And again, very nicely fit and finished. David, they make a decent knife. They use a lot of high volume manufacturing type techniques, so they may not be the fanciest pristine type things, but they use good quality materials, and I think the knives hold up well. Again, this one, because it's got two blades and the blades have to nest. There is a liner in there, and the blade does rest on the liner. However, in this case, they've actually put a brass liner just right here where the tip of the knife sits on. So it's not touching something harder than the knife steel. So it should protect the blade just a little bit. So that was a nice touch. This next one is just a little bit different shape to the bolster on the tail. A little bit of file work on the tail there. This knife is another Sandvik stainless knife. It's got some file work on the spine. And a little bit different mouche decoration here, sort of a tree pattern, and that is forged one piece with the spring. This mark has a GR. I think it's called the Voyageur. It's got a little traveler here on the blade marking. The GR is Sheila Vanuatu, which is the owner of the company. This is in Thiers. This particular blade shape has sort of a drop point or spear shape instead of the traditional yatagan blade that the Laguioles would have. It has a nice horn handle with a fitting with the pins holding it in place. Brushed finish on the bolsters. It's a nice solid knife. Not the best finishing on the blade, but a good utilitarian knife and solid construction, good heavy materials, nothing to be ashamed about. They do have a little play there where the blade doesn't actually rest on the spring, so that'll protect your blade. So that's nice. And the final one is a Laguiole knife with a seahorse in the mark they call Hippocamp, and that's the brand. Again, 12C27 is the blade steel, fairly standard. Brushed finish. The fly is forged one piece with the spine with some fairly simple file work. Brushed finish. It's a good quality knife. A little file work on the spine of the blade as well. Figure out here. The handle's quite pretty. It's a burl, like a curly burl wood. I'm not sure if that's a sort of a root, curly birch. It's very, very pretty. It has the typical shepherd's cross pin inlay. The blade is the handle is wide, so it feels good in the hand. But it's a nice shape. Again, just a different brand. Another one of the many makers in France that are doing handmade Laguiole style knives. It's a nice middle range, solid, well made knife.